This is Alan Parry welcoming you back to Moscow for the start of the first period of extra time in this UEFA Cup second leg tie between Torpedo Moscow in the white shirts and Manchester United. 0-0 was the score at the end of 90 minutes. 0-0 was the score in the first leg a fortnight ago at Old Trafford. And Manchester United, who have used both their substitutes, Paul Parker and Brian Robson, are reduced to 10 men here, following the sending off for a second bookable offence of Mark Hughes with only a couple of minutes remaining of normal time. So they're really up against it here, United, against the Torpedo Moscow side that have played exceptionally well since half-time. And they're very much in the driving seat now, the home side. Anasiev in possession for them. Mironov playing it back. And now Grishin, who's missed a couple of very good opportunities for Torpedo. Mironov, the defender. That was a dangerous cross as well. Talalayev didn't make proper contact with the ball. Mironov controls it, but the whistle has gone. Free kick to Manchester United, who have a real problem now, Dennis, obviously down to 10 men, and should they, heaven forbid, get an injury as well, having used both their substitutes. Not too many options left here for Alex Ferguson.
There isn't a great many at all, and I think what we'll see in this extra half hour is that I'm sure Alex Ferguson said to his lads, you know, you've only got half an hour to battle. But I think what we'll see a great deal of defending, and probably with only Ryan Giggs up front. But the way that the Russians played in the second half, it is going to be a difficult task. But it's not impossible. We've seen it many times before in the past where 10 men have come through in the end. And as I say, I'm sure Alex Ferguson said to his team, now listen, you've only got half an hour to battle, and then if we can get that 0-0, then it goes to penalty.
United unlucky when a shot by Webb hit the post in the dying moments of the 90 minutes. But in fairness, Torpedo Moscow came close several times themselves. Grishin getting good ball forward. Ulyanov, the substitute for Torpedo. Shustikov. This is the Chudainov. Back kick goes to Shustikov. Now Ulyanov. Vostrosadlin, the number 5 defender. Grishin now switched to the left. And just showed the ball to the defender, but he's rather fortunate that Torpedo have kept possession here. Grishin with a good little layoff to Shustikov, who tried to force it back to him with clearance by Parker. Now Giggs has got to work hard here. As Dennis has said, he's going to be all on his own. This is a fine run by him. He was dispossessed, but it'll just give the defenders time to get a breather and recompose themselves now in the United half. He's got a really vital role to play here, Ryan Giggs.
And a very difficult role as well, isn't it? I mean, they've already played 90 minutes, hard 90 minutes. It's been a tough cup tie, and it's got to be important that he keeps some of the defenders occupied at least.
Here's Shustikov for Torpedo. Really good footballer who's had an excellent match. And that's a good ball too. Talalayev. The crowd wanted a penalty. The referee didn't want to know. Talalayev having an angry exchange with Paul Ince, the man who challenged him.
I think Paul Ince was saying that Talalayev died. It's not the first time he's done that either.
Indeed not. I don't think Paul Ince is too fluent in Russian either, so he won't have understood a word anyway. Probably understood the gestures. Here's Talalayev again. Shustikov. Vostrosadlin. Play camped inside the United half at the moment. Good tackle though. The umpteenth time in this game by Ince, who's really had an outstanding match, and it's got United moving forward. And here's Ince again. Good run by Ince. Terrific run, and not a bad effort at the end of it.
He's certainly been the outstanding player for Manchester United today. I think he's defended well, he's been excellent in midfield, and he's got up there. I know that shot it went wide, but he's had the opportunity to get into that area and have the shot. It's going to be a tough time for him, isn't it?
has fallen non-stop throughout the day in Moscow. Seems, if anything, to be getting even heavier now. Grishin for Torpedo. Mironov. The number 7 takes over again. Hits it first time towards Talalaya. Pallister gets it clear to Ince. Now Irwin. Oh dear, they can't afford to give possession away like that, United. It's going to be mighty hard enough to get it back. Ulyanov. Shustikov. That's a good ball, and space is opened up on the left. On the rack of it here, United. Oh, and it's missed kick. They've got away with it for the moment. Arafiev playing it in and trying to set up the defender, Tilimonov. United, I think, very relieved to get away with that. Brian McClare in possession. Good ball. Robson took it beautifully on the chest. Parker. Neil Webb. Good run down the left-hand side by Irwin. Hasn't been spotted yet. Robson. That's a bad ball by Brian Robson. Nothing to choose between these two sides, really, over the two legs. Talalaya in possession now for Torpedo. And no foul. Again, the referee has decided he was making the most of that.
Well, I think the referee's done excellent tonight, hasn't he? For both sides.
Yes, he certainly isn't going to make any rash decisions when players go down on this very, very wet, slippery surface now. Ince, the man of the match for me, and he was fouled then, and the referee read that one right as well.
I know it's easy to say this, Alan, but what United have got to try and do is to try and keep the ball up there. They've got to try and keep possession, pass it around, make the Russians run, and not give away silly balls.
Giggs gets it back. This is good by United. Giggs. Irwin. Poor cross by Irwin.
But that's what I mean, that type. I know it's late on in the game and they are a bit tired, but that's from where we were. It should have been an easier. I mean, it's obviously the rains are awful. It's never stopped the whole game. Not easy conditions to play in.
I think when the draw was made, a lot of people looked at the position of Torpedo Moscow in their own Russian league and thought that it wouldn't be too difficult to hurdle for Manchester United, but it's proof, should we need it, that in Europe, every single game, unless with respect to the likes of the Cypriots that Liverpool face, unless you face really weak opposition from one of the non-footballing powers, every game's dangerous, particularly against the Russian side who are experienced in Europe. And they're not a great side, but certainly a good all-round football team.
They're a good football team, aren't they? There's no doubt about that. I mean, they're playing particularly well in midfield, but what they lack up front is obviously somebody put the ball in the back of the net, because they've had 2 or 3 excellent opportunities to do that.
And thank goodness, from a domestic point of view, they have lacked the goal scorer. But here goes Grishin, he's dispossessed. Torpedo ready to bring on a second substitute, incidentally, as Giggs flicked it on to Brian McClare. Hits it first time out to Webb on the right. Now they've got Giggs in the middle here. Now Webb may choose to hold it. Gets the crossing, which flicked off the defender, and that means a corner. And that means also the opportunity for Torpedo to make their substitution. Sergei Borisov coming on, and the man he will replace, Vostro Sablin. And Borisov comes on. The rain unquestionably is getting heavier. I don't know how there can be any rain left up there. Here's Giggs for United. Back out to Webb. Dangerous cross that, but not dangerous enough really, because Podshiballov was not put under any pressure. Grishin. wish I had the concession for selling umbrellas in Moscow today, because you'd have made a fortune.
It's a partly of the mild day in this.
Dennis Laura and I commentating, I kid you not, from a bus at trackside at pitch level, and the rain is now pouring into the bus as well, getting everywhere. Grishin for Torpedo. It's a good-looking ball, and danger here, and Schmeichel did well. He's had a very sound match, Peter Schmeichel. Anything he's been called upon to do, he has done well.
He did well, because Shustakov hadn't been picked up at all, and Schmeichel's come out, brave, smothered it. Good set.
Schmeichel played here for Brøndby a couple of seasons ago when they forced Torpedo Moscow to extra time and penalties on that occasion in a quarter-final tie. Brøndby won that, and Schmeichel saved the penalty. He might well be turning the clock back tonight, because penalties are increasingly looking the most likely way for this game to be decided. We've had 11 minutes of the first period of extra time, 15 minutes each way, remember, of added time. It's a 0-0 on 90 minutes and 0-0 on aggregate. Arafiev. Shustakov. Now the substitute, Borisov. Both sides have used both their permitted substitutes now. Arafiev. Hits it in dangerously first time. Shustakov on the far post, but didn't quite get the shot in. And a bit of confusion momentarily in the United defence, but they've cleared their lines. And a good header by Giggs. And a good return ball too from Brian McClare. Giggs again. Hints onto it. Oh, he just slipped at the vital moment. That was a shame. But United still press with Giggs. Oh dear, it's a frustrating night for Ryan Giggs. Every time he's got in a good position, the cross hasn't been good. And, well, if you didn't believe me about the rain, there's proof. There may have been changes politically in Moscow, and there's certainly been changes in one respect. Everyone seems to have a car in this city these days. And believe me, they haven't moved very far today. The whole city seems to have been brought to a standstill by the rain. Manchester United have their own charter flight back to Manchester tonight. And they'll be hoping it's a champagne flight back, but they're under pressure again here. With the little Ulyanov taken off him by Parker. Less than 2 minutes remaining for the change around now in extra time. And we still await the first goal of the tie.
Well, they've battled well, haven't they? They've defended. They're down to 10 men. Very difficult conditions. They've never stopped running. They could just see out this first part of extra time, and another 50 minutes after that. Then, well, you could see it going to penalties. But they've battled well today. It's been a very difficult job indeed.
As I was saying, no such thing as an easy touch in European competition anymore. Shustakov. The pace of the game has really come down a gear or two now, not surprisingly. Borisov, the substitute, who has no excuse, having only just come on, gives the ball away. No cover at all for the spectators inside this stadium. They must be absolutely saturated. Arafiev pelting off the running track surrounding the pitch now. Back it goes to Arafiev. Good run by him, an excellent run. And then Pallister takes it off his toe. And we've almost reached the end of this first quarter of an hour of extra time. Mironov for Torpedo. United have only Ryan Giggs now in the opposition half. That's the end of the first period of extra time. And watching back in our studio in London, the former Manchester United manager, Ron Atkinson. Ron, what do you make of the situation here for United?
Well, obviously, Mark Hughes, who's probably their most influential player, must have had rocks for brains to have done what he did, and has put his team right up against it. Having said that, they look as if they're grouping. They're going to stay behind the ball. Ryan Giggs will get the Lone Ranger job up front. They'll make up their mind to play for penalties, and if a situation comes along that maybe they can nick one through Giggs or McClare breaking, they'll take that. But I think you'll see just resolute defending now from the halfway line backwards.
Thanks, Ron. The goalkeepers change end. Peter Schmeichel has got a huge red Manchester United towel with him at the other end to wipe his goalkeeping gloves and make absolutely sure that the rain doesn't affect his grip on the ball. And Podchevalov making sure the cross was where it should be as the second half of extra time gets underway with still not a goal to show between Torpedo Moscow and Manchester United. 3 hours and 15 minutes of football. Torpedo go forward again with Grishin. Shot well blocked. McClare finds Giggs. Now Webb. That's a good ball by Webb. McClare. Giggs on the left. Robson has got forward, so has Irwin, far post. As Giggs goes it alone for the moment. And maybe that wasn't the right decision. Karalayev making a good run, and he's onside here. Real danger for Manchester United. Karalayev goes down, and again the referee says play on. Well, the home fans furious with the referee here. They feel that they've been cheated out of a couple of decisions, but I think the referee was banged on again there, Dennis. What do you think?
Definitely. Good tackle by Bruce. He's gone down that Karalayev so many times, isn't he? That, well, from this position, of course, it looked like a penalty, but we've seen it on the monitor. There's no danger.
No.
But what United have got to do in this last part of extra time, they've got to get behind the ball. They haven't got to give the ball away. I know it's easy saying because obviously they're very tired as well, but that's what they've got to try and do.
Here's Afanasiev. Mironov. Chugainov. Grishin. Well, it's always worth a shot, really, from that range in these conditions, but no problem for Schmeichel, who has looked, dare I say it, unbeatable tonight. He really has been the equal of everything and has been a very commanding figure in the United goal, the big Dane.
Well, he's the one who's definitely kept him in this tie, isn't he? And they'll be quite glad that Ferguson has had that shot. It gives them just wastes up a few more seconds, doesn't it? It gives them time to get their second breath.
Giggs at the other end has won the throw-in for Manchester United. United went out at the second round stage, remember, in Europe last year against Atletico Madrid. As Giggs attacks again dangerously for them, and the cross deflected away. Remember that night in Madrid when Manchester United, seemingly on the way to a 1-0 defeat against Atletico, collapsed in the last couple of minutes and conceded 2 more goals, which they were unable to pull round in the second leg. A different proposition for them tonight, but equally difficult as Robson heads goalwards, but wide. Manchester United, and I tell you, should you only just have joined us, are playing with only 10 men following the sending off of their Welsh international Mark Hughes, with only a couple of minutes to go in the 90 minutes of normal time for a second bookable offence, kicking the ball away, in the referee's opinion. Borisov, the substitute for Torpedo. Now Chugainov. Good little ball, and the shot was not so good.
bit of desperation coming into their players. They've knocked the ball about well, but this last couple of shots is really, I suppose in these conditions you've got to have an attempt. You never know exactly where it's going to go, but they look two tired shots.
Well, it's not surprising, I think, in any conditions that players would be looking tired now, but in these sapping conditions that we have here tonight, with the rain falling incessantly, it's no surprise at all. And they've been playing for a long time. Here's Shustikov for Torpedo. And that man has had an absolute stormer for Manchester United, and he won it back well then. The player goes down, Chugainov takes it off him. Mironov. Shustikov. Afanasiev. Going to take on Parker here. And gets the shot in, but well wide. And neither side really at this stage looking likely, I think, to get a goal from open play, Dennis.
Well, the way it's gone, I mean, it's been so tiring, hasn't it? The tired legs, I don't think people realise, how tiring it becomes in extra time. And the conditions have been awful, haven't they? I mean, very heavy indeed. And a sort of desperation comes in when you get there. This shot is not hit clean, is it? It's just a sort of effort at goal, but well wide.
Knocked on by McClare for Giggs to chase. And he's got there ahead of the defender. Most important thing is to keep possession. Giggs pulls it back nicely for Robson. And Robson does well, and the shot by Owen. I thought it had taken a deflection at first, but it hadn't. Goal kicked. 6 minutes of the second period of extra time, so about 9 minutes of football left here. And, well, obviously, a goal now you would think would finish off the side who conceded it. But if you had to place a bet on the outcome here, you'd say they're likely to face penalties. Parker hits it on. Borisov. Robson in strongly. That was a good challenge. Palace gets it forward. A good ball for Brian McClare for United. Good sliding tackle on him, though. The Palace is there again. Now he's given it away to Shustikov, and there's a big hole left behind as Palace chases back. Palalaya. Parker did brilliantly then. Borisov, good tackle. Excellent challenge from Palace there again. Here goes in. So strong, driving on in the middle of the field all night. Giggs. Oh, that's a good-looking ball by Giggs, but Ince just didn't have that little extra yard to get onto it. Not surprisingly, he's worked so hard, Dennis.
And considering, Alan, that they've played with 10 men as well, isn't it? I mean, they've sort of been a bit ragged at times, but then occasionally, like Giggs has come in and he's put a nice little ball, just a little bit too far forward.
Well, one back there by Giggs. Parker for Manchester United. Good ball for Webb. Got McClare in the middle. No one else really in a red shirt. Here's Giggs. Good run by Giggs. Good effort, but not good enough.
Well, it was a good try. He's come in. It was a good move. They knocked the ball down to Webb. He always was looking for somebody. Pulled it back to Giggs. Came in. Had a good shot, really.
Just wonder there whether the goalkeeper, Podshivalov, is in a bit of trouble. He seemed to be holding his right thigh there. 7 minutes to go. 0-0. See how he kicks the ball here. He did seem a little uneasy on it. But he's certainly going to take the kick himself. He's not going to ask a defender to do so. Well, he looked all right. Bruce beaten to it by Talalaya. Parker has to chase here. Schmeichel takes charge of things. Just what you want a goalkeeper to do in that situation. There was a good ball as well to Giggs. Brilliant in Webb. Good ball. Ince is there again. And got the shot in, but no sting in the effort.
No, there was no foul there at all. Very tight shot. Don't forget, he ran about 50 yards before this. He's been involved in 2 or 3 runs. Had the shot, didn't really get behind it, did he?
Alalias header. Parker. First time clearance by him, and a very sensible one too. Afanasi has completely sliced his clearance. Giggs onto it. Robson in support. And he was brushed aside. He's bound to be feeling tired now. Remember, he hasn't played since a couple of pre-season games, Ryan Robson. His hamstring problem. Well, they've just got to dredge something up from somewhere now, United, and hold on in there, really, for the last 5 minutes of normal time here in extra time. Borisov. Grishy. Good ball down the right. Danger now for Manchester United. They've got a lot of men forward here. Torpedo. Talalaya header. No problem for Peter Schmeichel.
Well, they're all tired, aren't they? They're all tired headers or tired shots. And the move itself has been quite good, but when the sort of final effort at goal, it's been weak, hasn't it?
Giggs showing a nice turn of speed to get in ahead of Filimonov, and felt he was being held off by the defender, and I think the referee has upheld that. He has. Free kick to United. Robson's got forward very quickly. But the kick too deep for him, then Ince tries the shot. Well, optimistic from that range, I suppose, but you can't blame him. And a bit of debate going on amongst the Russian defenders. The captain and goalkeeper Podchevalov unhappy about something. Webb is back on his feet. And remember, history is on Manchester United's side here if this tie does go to penalties, because the only 2 times they have played at home and lost in Europe, Torpedo Moscow have gone out on penalty. And another booking here. A yellow card this time for number 3 Cheltop, the sweeper. The cameraman waits for the picture of the winning goal. I wonder how it will come about. Got to somehow or other. This tie has to be settled tonight. Webb whips it in, and that was an ambitious sort of effort. And might well have paid off. With Bruce and Pallister going forward for all these free kicks, but getting back to defend well, as Bruce did that. 2 minutes to go, I make it. 0-0. Manchester United's future in the UEFA Cup in the balance. And the referee again rightly waves play on. I think some of these Torpedo forwards have been to the Jurgen Klinsmann school of drama. Good interception by Parker for Manchester United. And now Giggs takes up the running. And back it goes. Well, it was intended to go back to Giggs, but never reached him. But still United have it. Brian McClare. And wins the corner, does he? Yes. Well done, Brian McClare. That's just what Manchester United wanted. Less than 2 minutes to go to the end of extra time. And Manchester United locked at 0-0 here against Torpedo Moscow have a corner. A test for Podchevalov, the captain and goalkeeper of Torpedo. Bruce and Pallister, both forward for the kick. And it's not a bad one. Oh, it was Bruce who got in the header, and the goalkeeper goes down bravely to save at the feet of Brian McClare. I wonder if that is to be the last real opportunity in open play now. Bruce doing well to win the header, and it could have, that skirmish easily led to a goal, but it didn't. Still 0-0. Under a minute remaining, and if there is no goal in the next 60 seconds or so, we will have a penalty shootout to decide who goes through to the next round. I had a word with Alex Ferguson this morning about his penalty takers, and he told me that there will probably be Bruce, Irwin, McClare. Wallace should have been one of them, but he's gone off now, and Pallister. They'll all be feeling nerves at this moment, knowing that that ordeal could soon face them. But it's not over yet, the match, never mind the penalties. Here's Borisov for Torpedo, taking on Parker, and whipping in a good-looking cross. And it breaks to Shustikov, and through a crowd of players that could easily have gone absolutely anywhere. Schmeichel diving across his goal area. Fortunately for United, Shustikov's shot went wide, and I now make that the end of extra time. And so does the referee. The whistle has gone. And remember, as I was saying before, Torpedo, who've never actually lost in open play, a European tie here in 25 games, have lost twice on penalty shootouts against Benfica in season 1977-78 and against Bromby, for whom Peter that night in season 1990-91. It's going to be penalties. Dennis, what a situation.
It's awful, isn't it? I mean, for both sets of players to have played 90 minutes, then go into extra time. We've had the opportunities to win the game. Now it's come down to penalties. I think if you ask any football player throughout the world, really, this is the last thing that they would like to do. It's always nice for the ones who eventually come through the winners, but it's an awful way to lose whatever game, whether it's a European Cup tie or whatever. But of course, there's no other way that we can do it with so many fixtures being throughout the globe now. There's no possibility they could have an extra game, so this is the way. Certainly exciting for spectators and television viewers, but for players, you can see the nightmare of them thinking, hey, is it going to be me? Is it going to be missing it? The keeper themselves, am I going to save it, or whatever? And we've seen it so many times. Certainly exciting.
Remember, Manchester United have only got 10 men. There are 5 penalties per side.
Yes.
Should they not be able to separate the two sides on the 5 penalties, it then goes, of course, on and on and on. Well, United have got 1 man left.
Yes, well, I don't know how that would work out. I don't see... let's hope it doesn't go to that situation.
I don't know, one thing I hope. Forgive me for repeating this if you've been listening right through, but if you've just joined us, we have got the worst commentary position imaginable. We're on a bus, a Moscow bus, parked halfway inside one half on the touchline. I very much hope the penalties are taken at our end, because the other end is a long way away. So the referee will try and sort things out here. The teams have to nominate their 5 penalty takers. And can I add that the national news will follow? I'm sure viewers will fully understand our wish to stay to the very conclusion of this. It's very entertaining. It's very exciting if you're a neutral. It's absolutely nerve-wracking if you're involved. And no matter how many times in training players practice penalty kicks, it doesn't make any difference. You've still got to get it right on the night. Podjivalov, the Torpedo goalkeeper, looking like cheap sitting bull there with the cape wrapped around him. And I'm delighted to say the penalties are going to be at our end. As Podjivalov keeps himself warm and relatively dry, it means that the first penalty will be faced by Peter Schmeichel of Manchester United. So Torpedo will take the first kick. And none of their players have actually stepped forward yet. Maybe a bit reluctant to get involved in the drama. Schmeichel's ready, and so too is the first penalty taker for Torpedo. And it's going to be their substitute, Borisov. So the first penalty in this shootout to decide who goes through in this European tie. Borisov for Torpedo Moscow against Peter Schmeichel, who saved it! What a great start for Manchester United!
Well, you can't get a better start than this. Borisov comes up, he knocks it well to Schmeichel's right, but look at that. Wasn't that a beautiful... What a lovely boost for you Manchester United players.
Well, that is magnificent from a Manchester United point of view. Psychologically now, they've got a real lift. And one thing Alex Ferguson did say about the penalty takers, he picked them beforehand, but he did say it also depends on who's got the bottle on the night. And Ince, who is not one of the originally nominated players, has clearly got this, the chance for United to take an early lead in the shootout. All in. Yes! It's 1-0 to Manchester United.
Well, you always felt that if anybody was going to score on the night, has been Paulins, because he's been absolutely superb. A little bit of a shimmy, knocks it well to the keeper, dived the wrong way.
The first time the electric scoreboard has been called upon to show a goal here. And it's to Manchester United. And Afanasiev now, the defender, will take the second penalty kick, and there's a lot of pressure on him now, with Torpedo having already missed once from the spot. Can Schmeichel perform a miracle again? He didn't need to. It hit the bar, and 2 penalties have been taken by Torpedo, and 2 penalties have been missed.
Well, you certainly couldn't get a better start there. Afanasiev hit it well, but hit it right onto the crossbar. You've got to feel sorry for the players as well right now. It's an awful thing to do, miss them. But what a marvellous start for Manchester United. Now, if Irwin could come up and knock one in, that would be 2-0. Really puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the Russian players who have got to take the penalties there.
So Torpedo have missed twice from the spot. Ince has scored once for Manchester United. Can Irwin make it 2-0 for United? He can! Dennis Irwin gives United a chink of light.
Well, he's certainly a terrific striker with the ball, isn't he? And he's hit this with real power. I think his keeper might have just got a touch of that, but he could not stop it.
Well, we keep using the word pressure on penalty takers, but it really does apply now to this one. Chugainov really has to score, doesn't he? Realistically speaking, if Torpedo miss this, they must be out. Well, he's tucked it away, all right. And it's given them just a glimmer of hope.
Well, there was no way they were going to miss 3 in the bounce, and Chugainov sends Schmeichel the wrong way and just tucks it nicely into the corner.
But vitally, of course, Manchester United leading by 2 goals to 1, and their third penalty still to come, so they can extend it to 3-1 here if their captain, Steve Bruce, nets from the spot now. Steve Bruce, one of the acest penalty takers in the game, scored 11 times from the spot a couple of seasons ago, has the chance to give Manchester United a 3-1 lead in the shootout here in Moscow. Oh, he's missed it. The one man you would have expected to find the spot for United didn't.
Well, he looked very confident when he came out, but side-footed, but the goalkeeper saved it well. Of course, you don't get a second chance at that.
Well, isn't this astonishing? And now, psychologically, for a moment anyway, it swings slightly back towards the Russian team. And their substitute, Ulyanov, will take the next penalty kick. And now this is to make it 2-2. Ulyanov against Schmeichel. And he scored. 2-2 it is.
Well, no problem for Ulyanov to make it 2-2, but you must say that the onus is, or the advantage is still with Manchester United, and obviously Brian McCare is really a difficult, a very awful way to take a bet. And he knows he's got to score this one.
Well, I think even if you were leading 3-0 On penalties, there'd still be pressure on the taker. So tense, these situations. But this, again, a vital kick. If Brian McClare scores now, Manchester United will take a 3-2 lead, and then each side only has one more penalty left of their allotted 5. McClare did it high over the bar, and suddenly Torpedo Moscow are off the hook.
Well, really, he didn't step back very far, lifted his head. Really an awful penalty. But again, in the circumstances, very difficult to beat out.
So it's 2-2 now on penalties. Ince and Irwin scored the first 2 from the spot for United, but Bruce and McClare have missed the 2 since. And Torpedo Moscow can actually take the lead from the spot here. Arefiev is the man charged with the responsibility. And he scored. It's 3-2 to Torpedo Moscow from the spot. United have got to score this penalty to stay in.
But Arefiev, no danger at all. Very confident, wasn't he? Just side-footed it high into the top of the net.
What a moment then for Manchester United. Who else would you have in this situation other than Brian Robson?
Without a doubt, no danger.
Robson has to score or United are out of Europe. And he scores. 3-3 on penalties, and that means now it's sudden death.
But if you had to pick anybody to score this particular one, keep him in the tournament, then you got to select Brian Robson. Took it very coolly indeed.
So there's confirmation on the scoreboard. Borisov and Afanasiev missing the first 2 for Torpedo. Ince and Irwin scoring for United. Then Bruce and McClare missed. Chugainov and Ulyanov and Arefiev all netted. And Robson has brought the teams level. It's sudden death now. First to miss, as long as the other team scores, and you're out. It's Grishin against Schmeichel. Safe enough.
Well, just a penalty that is absolutely just hit with power to go straight in the goal. No direction at all. Hit it straight in the middle. With the pressure on Pallister here coming up. I mean, that's really, if you call pressure, this is pressure, isn't it?
Well, I can feel it. We can, can't we? Just watching. What a moment for Gary Pallister. He has to score this, or Manchester United will go out of Europe. He's missed it. Puchivalov has made the save. Torpedo Moscow can't believe it. All their players race to embrace their goalkeeper and captain. And Torpedo Moscow have knocked Manchester United out of Europe. Out on penalties. The night of drama is complete. From Moscow, it's back to London.